Welcome to the Fatwheels Outriggers assembly video. This is our first attempt at making a video, and we've gotten the best professionals available to do this. So these are the wrap clamps. This is the newest version of the wrap clamp. It's quite a bit thicker than the original version, so it's stronger, but we've got holes in it that you can call weakening holes, which are intended to make it easier to bend around the frame tubing of the bike. So the first thing you want to do is to lean the bike up against a steady surface, or better yet, get a friend to help, and then bend each of 3 wrap clamps on one side around the tubing, keeping it as tight to the tubing as possible. There's 1, 2, and you'll note on this one we've got a cable to contend with, so you've got to make sure the wrap clamp goes under the cable. And to be honest, I'm not sure whether we want this to go this way or this way, so we're going to try it this way, and we'll find out if I guessed right. But if you do it wrong out there, you can always bend it back out just enough to get it off and turn it around if you need to. On this style of bike with a derailleur, the angle of the chain stays is at 9 degrees on each side, so 18 degrees total, and that's what we have these plates welded on at that angle. And on a single speed bike, the angle is different, and you'll need to use spacers to account for that, which I can explain later. But for this kind of bike, in order to help clear the chain in the higher gears, you can use 3 of the 4 included spacers on the right side where the derailleur is, and none on the left side. Okay, but before I put these on, we need to get some of that rubber material underneath the wrap clamp so it won't scratch the bike. Determine the length you need by wrapping it around the stay, and then take a pair of scissors and just cut off a few pieces. In some cases you may need to put several pieces under there in order to make sure that the thing's tight enough. But by doing it this way and sliding it underneath, you can get the wrap clamp on a little tighter. You see how I'm trying to make sure we don't get down to this next hole. I want to use this top hole. I'm going to determine which way this has to go before I put the rubber under it. It might be hard to see at this camera angle, but this horizontal piece, which should line up with the rear axle of the bike. This one needs, well, in fact, it could go either way. In this particular case, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it like it is. So that way we won't interfere with the cable. In the hardware kit, you have washers, nuts and bolts, along with these spacers and these square things. You'll want to take a bolt and a washer. And we already talked about how we're going to use the spacers on this side to give a little extra distance away from the chain when it comes around the derailleur. You know, this, that hole like so. And it comes through both sides of this thing. There's no way he can show that with the camera, I don't think. But and then you'll need a nut and one of these flat square washers on the back side. The purpose of that flat is to distribute the load of the nut on the wrap clamp so as to not bend it and make it unusable. So what you can't see me doing on the other side is putting the lock nut on here. So you do that all three places and tighten them down, and then we do the other side. Okay, so after you're finished tightening all the bolts, I'm working on the last one right now, and I might let you know that several minutes have gone by since we stopped the video. It takes a few minutes to get all these things lined up, but you can see that we've got the bolt, the washer, the spacer, the wrap clamp, the rubber part, and the square washer, and then that lock nut, and all of them need to be tight. And this is a little after the fact, but the tools you'll need: 13mm wrench, 13mm socket, and you'll need a 15mm wrench to put the wheel on, which is what we're about to do now. The wheels come with these knurled plugs and a curved washer already mounted on them. Each one has this set on. You have to take this off and slide it up in the tube. And this is going to be hard to see in the video, but because it's all black. But there's the threaded portion of the tube, and here we go. See that the curved washer. Okay, so we've got the threaded insert in the tube. You have to make sure this is square now, so the thing will thread properly into the insert and not cross thread. You tighten it with your fingers. You see how this curve. Alright then, and then so in order to set the height of the bike, you take your 15mm wrench, snug it on up, and if you want to, you can actually go in here with the wrench, which is probably better than what I was doing out there. And we're done with this side. The opposite side is exactly a mirror image of this side, except, of course, that we used up all our spacers on this side because of the derailleur and the gear cog. On a single-speed bike, you'd want to use 2 spacers on one side and 2 spacers on the other in order to change the angle of this wheel here on both sides. You would use the one here and one in the back, and no spacer in the front. And then that's basically it. Good luck. We ended up having to put the spacers on this particular bike in the back. At the top here, one on each side, and on the back, one here and one over here, to get the right toe in on these wheels. This bike, even though it is a multi-speed with a derailleur, has the same angle as a single-speed bike would.